Ryan, I feel like I'm talking to you from my upstairs apartment where I used to live adjacent to you.
You used to be just inches away from
Yeah.
me, about through this ceiling. I know.
Without a pandemic between us, we could have just done this in person. Yeah.
Well, I know. I just walk upstairs,
It
and
was.
now you're quite a ways away
We
from
are,
me.
Ryan. Welcome to the show. Let's officially kick it off.
Thank you.
Oh, I love that logo. I can't get enough of the sound of a projector running film through. As you can see from my background, I appreciate film in all its glory. We're
Yes.
uh, we're talking today about toy makers, but I will make a note that your short film "Ticket Like a Man" is also that is you. Your hair is
Mhm.
somewhat different from your appearance in that film, but you were the writer, producer, and one of the producers and the star of that film. We had Jacob on a few episodes ago talking about it, and now we're talking about you. You went from a short film to like, let's just make a whole series. Let's make a whole Christmas
Mhm.
series. Why not? So,
Yeah,
Toy Makers, the series. Tell the audience in your own words what it is about, where the idea comes from.
I will. And this hair might have been underneath wigs in those projects.
This is truth. Movie magic. Yeah.
Yeah. But all right, Toymakers is about a takes place at the North Pole. It's darkish comedy, I would say. It's about a superstar celebrity award-winning Olympian of a toy maker and his best friends. And on Christmas morning, they're all chilling, watching kids open their presents around the world because in my North Pole there's a magic TV that does that, which is awesome. And sadly, one of Timmy, the star toy maker's toys malfunctions and kills a child. So then it takes a turn.
This is the only kind of Christmas movie I love.
Yeah.
If there's death or like rare exports with Santa Claus kidnappings or Home Alone where people are
Mhm.
getting paint cans in the face.
Exactly.
Uh,
Yeah.
knowing you personally, this interview is a little easier. Does the core idea come from your mild obsession with the holiday known as Christmas?
It does come. Thank you for saying mild. I appreciate that. My
I'm
cat
surprised I can't see the Christmas tree up in the background. It is
no,
March, Ryan. You're behind.
it's
Yeah,
off this side and this side are my two trees right now.
perfect.
Yeah. No, it definitely came from that. The thing in this industry, from my experience, though, is that with Christmas, there seems to be sort of either the super family friendly Hallmark Lifetime
Hmm.
style feel good Christmas films, or the total other end, whether it's like a hard R like Bad Santa, or just horror like you said, Rare Exports, or Krampus, or
Yep.
Black Christmas and stuff. And so I sort of thought it would be fun to go a bit in between for people who do love the whole festive theme and nature of Christmas, but still with some devastation involved.
Yeah,
Not just
the dark elements in yours are still in that comedic tone where it's like a
yeah,
fun sinister versus a an all out horror movie, which is
yeah. I was watching at the time Search Party, which
yep.
I just loved the tone about these young kids who really have nothing going on in their lives, and they're just sitting around having mimosa brunches, like trying to make something of a missing girl, and it's like so dramatic, but they're just chilling over mimosas, and it was the tone really, I loved it, and so I was sort of going for that with these like toy makers. They're used to this way of life, and then something devastating happens, and you know, uh, part of it too with the whole, as we know, it's not that difficult to be canceled these days. And Grace, my cat is jealous.
What
Um,
was I saying before the interview started? Since the pandemic started, anything goes. It's live TV. It's
yeah,
wild. Cats are welcome. Yeah.
she's trying to steal the show. Great, come up here. Sorry. All right.
It's fine. I mean, you know
So
me and my dog. My dog ends up appearing, and my dog, Puck, ended up in the movie that we made together. So
absolutely,
animals are very welcome.
and it ends up being everyone's favorite part. No, so it's easy to get canceled these days, but my point of view here with writing this wasn't to say whether or not I think people should be canceled. Every situation is so nuanced,
Yeah,
obviously. It was more to be like, if you're used to this one way of life, this success, and if you do get canceled and it comes in like a tidal wave, what do you do then? And in this situation, it was so extreme that like the world's top North Pole Toymaker has killed a child. And it's all over the news, and his life comes crumbling down. So him and his friends are sort of like, what now? Am I done for good? And that's where it gets a little dark.
What's the biggest challenge in going from, one short film to expanding something into, okay, we're going to do 6 episodes?
Well, the things that I've made, like, I think I've just made, like, produced, written, and then acted in, I think, 4 total projects, including with like mini series or short films, and they've all been so different, the experiences. I wrote Take It Like a Man, and then, was so precious about every decision for like a year, and then crowdfunded on top of my own money. Toymakers was a totally different experience. I actually wrote it as a short film and decided, with the way that content has changed rapidly, to, instead of make this like 15-minute short film, do 6 episodes that were like 2 to 3 minutes each. So I'm not bothering anyone for too long. Even now, it's like, if I expect someone to watch the whole first season, I'm asking for like 15 minutes of their time, which these days is a lot. But we found a way to chop it up, or I decided to chop it up into these micro episodes, and I think it worked well. Again, this was like opposite of my experience with Take It Like a Man, because I just used my own money. I could only crowdfund once in my life. That was traumatizing. And I teamed up with Natalie Britton, who has an amazing production company called Queen's Gambit.
Natalie.
And she's like, 99.9% of like why it all came together. She was very much like, no, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right, and we're going to hire a huge full crew. And that was like the opposite of what I had before. And since have, like, with me and you, when we worked on our short film, it was like DIY.
It was literally our other neighbors in the building that you're sitting in right now. Yeah.
Like, are you busy right now? Can you come hold the broom? And that was like, but there was such a cool lesson to be learned there too, that we didn't need a ton of money. We still made a cool project there. But back to Toymakers, it was a full-blown set. I met with directors that she set me up with, and I chose to work with Anne Renton, who is an amazing director who had done a bunch of TV and her own feature beforehand. And it worked like a full-blown set. As far as my experience, it was, Natalie taught me a lot about, I'm bad at delegating. Like, I'm bad at telling people. My instinct is sort of be like, oh, if I want that to be done, I should go do it. But Natalie taught me, like, no, that's why this person is hired, to go do that. In Take It Like a Man, I was like dragging around my full bag of all the film's props, like in between takes of shooting. I didn't even remember my lines. But Natalie was amazing, and we had an amazing crew and found a location. And the one thing that we were running against the whole time was the calendar and the clock, because we met, I want to say, in the end of September, and we were like, okay, but it needs to come out before Christmas, but not so close to Christmas that it has like a one-day life. So we just, like, within a month had to do all of it and hire the crew and find the location.
That was around the time that I had met you when we moved into the building, because I remember hearing that you were doing it. What I found was the resourcefulness of independent filmmaking, that mere blocks away from our building is a place that I know very well, because I had rented Christmas props for an Us the Duo music video that was Christmas themed. But let's talk about that location. Tell me about this just Christmas wonderland that's around the corner in North Hollywood.
It is a goddamn wonderland. It is like, okay, so when I first wrote the script, though, my intention was so that it was possible to film without needing like the set from Elf. Like, just 3 casual Toymaker friends chilling in their North Pole apartment, just like totally normal. We don't really see the North Pole except maybe an exterior that I would purchase a shot of snowy land. But then I was like, I should go peek. Is it called the Almost Christmas Shop, I want to say? I didn't know you had experience with them, by the way. It's like this huge warehouse of like hundreds of Christmas trees and just every decoration and costume and everything you could imagine. When you walk in, it is like what you would assume the North Pole is like. Um, and so I think I went just with the intention of like see what they have that inspires me or whatever. But just when I walked in and learned that also not only they provide like so much of like Hollywood's Christmas decorations, just for sets and just like at the Grove and around town and everything. But um, I was like, shit, now I want to film it in here. And it was just, the prices. I mean, definitely work with them, but it's not cheap.
Yeah.
Um, so Natalie went in. I mean, once we saw it, we were like, well, we got to find a way to use it somehow. She went in and talked to the sweetest owner for like hours and hours about our project, and he loved it. And, we worked something out. And what I ended up doing was because we thought like either we film everything there or everything just in a chill apartment and make it
Yeah.
easier. And what I decided was split it. We would have one full day shooting there, one full day shooting in an apartment, and just change the locations of scenes and go back and forth the whole time. And I think, and me and the director sort of decided, ended up expanding the world of the series even more, having multiple
Well,
locations.
it's always,
And
the term that gets thrown around is like production value, which means getting the
mm,
best sort of bang for your buck in production,
yeah,
as famously captured in J.J. Abrams' Super 8 when they're filming at the train station and the director realizes there's a real train coming. Production values, like everybody to
yeah,
your lines, go
exactly,
go go. It is
exactly
true. It's
that.
like that is the art. I mean, that's the art of even large scale movies that they have. Transformers will have relationships with the military, the U.S. military, so they can film on their bases and get shots of
Mhm.
planes and tanks that even a movie like Transformers would be out of their agreed budget scope if not for those partnerships to provide production value. So it's a huge lesson, and the earlier you learn it in your career, the better off your film will be. And sometimes production value is just like, we can't afford a tank. Well, what if we have a shaky cam reaction shot of somebody running from a tank and we just have the sounds of those treads approaching? You can get
Totally.
away with a lot with a little if you're just resourceful, like you and
Yeah.
Natalie were on this. We would be doing a disservice to your series if we didn't talk about the amazing cast that you have in
Mhm.
this. You recognizable people from TV series. It becomes
Mhm.
such a small world that I met you by being my neighbor. I knew Natalie, your producer. One of the stars of your series worked on a series with my wife that shot in Montreal for Fox.
Mhm.
So you gotta give shout outs to your castmates in this, because they're you guys are like an amazing trio in this.
Thank you. Yeah, that was really fun putting together, and my husband is a casting director, and we sort of put together we were moving so fast. I mean, I know maybe a month sounds like a long time, but to get this all done and edited and everything, it was moving so fast that I actually just looked through a bunch of people's previous work, like their reels, and we reached out to Chelsea Frei, who was in the Moodys with your wife, Sarah Booth,
Another Christmas
and
show, another Christmas show.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, and in a bunch of things. She's in Dollface now, and but she's just so hilarious. And luckily, she got back to us really quick. She was into it and down to come do it, and just brought so much of that character. Phillip Jordan, who plays Sean, um, I have known for years actually, and we offered it to him, and he was available, and I think it was just a good little mix of us. And the news reporter Lauren, uh, well, her name is Jeanette King. She's our one source of news that we get at the North Pole,
Yep, yep.
and it's all bad news.
I mean, the
And
antenna, it's really hard to just the antenna of the North Pole.
yeah,
You get one station. So
this one station that hates Toymakers. And her name's Lauren Bear. She's a close friend of mine, and we like I want to say 90% of the projects we've both done have been together. Originally, we started this together before we had reached out to Natalie, and and she was just hilarious as the mean news reporter. But yeah, the cast was so much fun, and Anne Renton, our director, actually in our first rehearsal had us like just took us by surprise and had us improv like as our characters, like how'd you end up at the North Pole, what were all your backgrounds, and it just ended up being so funny and fun that like by the time we were shooting it, it did feel like we've all been working together
that's
at
a
the
great
North
way to
Pole
do it.
forever.
Build in your backstories as you
Yeah.
act them out as your characters. What I think I've there's so many Christmas movies made every year, most of which I have not seen, but I do see the value in something like Toymakers, where you've premiered it on other platforms, it's out there in the world. It was shot a couple years ago, but now that it's on Reveal, there is always a ravenous audience looking for Christmas content. So you have the ability that every holiday season, you will just continue to find new people who are looking for holiday material, because I feel like there is Christmas movies provide all holiday movies really, but Christmas in particular, like it's just part of getting into the spirit. They always say, let's get the spirit of Christmas. And I feel like a lot of families have like their go-to classics. They have their things to go to. And I love that the indie film world and web series and things are able to get in on that and capture some of that magic, because what you ultimately are bringing is you get to be part of people's Christmas and part of their joy, which I think is like that. It's the sprinkles on the cupcake of making a production where you made it because you love it, you love the story, but now it can have this legacy where it now gets to actually affect in a positive way and bring some joy in the holiday season, which as a man who loves Christmas, that has to be a wonderful feeling.
Yeah, I mean, for life, Macaulay Culkin is just like, I make people happy this time of year, you know? Yeah, no, it's funny with this because I've had, and I've focused on different projects since, but I had, to your point, I had this idea where if it was a larger series, like maybe that we don't see many, actually the Moodys is one example, but we don't see many like holiday series in my experience.
You get the episode of the sitcom that's set at Christmas, but that's it. Yeah.
But I thought if it was a larger series, maybe it's something that drops like around every Thanksgiving, and you start like looking forward to, a new season of it or something. I also wrote it as a full feature film, so I could go that route. But yeah, no, I love it, and I appreciate that Reveal is.
Well, I have to get you up here to Canada, and I will entice yourself and your husband, because just across the border in Detroit, no more than like an hour to 2 hour drive, there is a place called Bronner's Christmas Market, which is the largest Christmas store in the world. And the entire town is Christmas 364 days a year. The only day they take off is Christmas Day. And the whole town is themed around Christmas. And this store is like 6 football fields, like NFL football fields large of Christmas. It's a Christmas store. So when you do finally come up and visit us, I will take you to where the toys are made.
Why don't I know about that already? That's crazy.
I've been holding out on you. Surely,
do they film there?
we can find out. Season 2 of Toymakers coming soon. Shot live on location at Bronner's Christmas Market. Get that Michigan tax credit. Like, it's great. Look, it's lining up. Ryan, the only other question I have is, when we eventually have our film that we made together on this platform, which hopefully is, fingers crossed, coming soon. I've already interviewed Adrian Ellis, the composer, because he's done some wonderful work that's on Reveal. I've had Sarah Booth on to talk about her work and other shorts in Reveal. I've had you on. I don't know who's left to interview. Do we interview the girls that worked on the movie and be like, what was it like to hold the boom pole? Like, or bring Puck, interview Puck since he's in it.
Just bring the or neighbors that have nothing to do with the industry that were just happen to be there.
What was it like? What was it like to hear all of that noise while they were filming the apartment, disrupting your life? Without a permit. Yes.
No, exactly. No, you should, because of your interview experience, you should film yourself with all your questions, and then film yourself with all your answers, and just make it
it's a good idea.
Win awards for that.
I could like grow the beard out more for the interview character, and then not have the beard and the answers. And I can wear an ascot and my big sunglasses, and never look anybody directly in the eye. Well, I'll be like Moira on Schitt's Creek. I'll have a couple wigs, and
I think that'd be an award-winning interview.
Listen, you heard it. You're gonna have to direct that session for me now. You pitched such a good idea. But Ryan, thanks for joining us. Everyone out there, if you don't have Reveal yet, reveal.net. It's easy. You sign up. It's 100% free. You never ask for a credit card. You get to watch all of this great indie content, indie features, documentaries, tons of short films, web series now like Toymakers. If you love Christmas, why would you not want to watch a character who loves to make toys? His whole purpose is to bring joy to children, and then accidentally starts killing them. So, I mean, you can't beat that premise. So check out Toymakers on Reveal. Ryan, thanks again for joining us today.
Thank you.